Alright, so welcome to, I guess, part 2 of my little finger style strumming kind of techniques. I guess I'd call it percussive strumming, just because, well, I started off on drums. So for me, I had a natural bent towards having percussion involved with my music, and a lot of times I'm playing just acoustic guitar, or it's a small band, like I'm leading worship or something in a small group, and we don't always have drums, but for me it's just a factor that I love to have involved. And so I started evolving a lot of my technique to include a lot of these small percussive things, and for me I think it goes a long way. It's a small detail, but I think it makes a big difference. So yeah, again, I kind of broke up this section, this little progression that I was playing into 3 portions, where I started off with just finger style, finger picking, and then I moved to, it's what I call the pick and catch. And then it's like a strum alongside with this little snapping sound. Alright, so the whole point of that snap sound is basically to emulate the sound of a snare drum. So if you can just imagine it, it's just like boom, 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 boom. So just think of it as like almost somebody playing a snare, but nobody's there to play a snare, so you're making your own snare. That's pretty much how I kind of came up with the idea, or that's at least how I think of it. I didn't really make up the idea. I think where I first learned it, if you want to learn it for yourself, where I first learned it was a song called More Than Words. It's a song that so many acoustic players have learned to play. Yep, so basically that's kind of like the pick and catch. Alright, so that's something you could learn completely on your own time. Just practice that song. That's how I learned it, and I hope that helps you as well. It takes a little bit of time to gain the coordination, but the idea is basically every time I pick, and on the beat where you'd imagine like a drum snare hitting, you drop the thumb on this bass E string, and you're not slapping it, you're landing it on it, and you're making the string slap against the fretboard here, and it kind of sounds like, yeah, just like a snap. So it sounds like that on most guitars, and a lot of guitars it'll sound pretty good. I used to do it all the time on my Taylor, and it sounded best on that. Still sounds pretty good on this one. But so when I do that, even if, say, I'm landing on the A string, I normally try to make at least part of my thumb catch that E string, and you don't even have to hit hard. Just try it for yourself. Just nice and easy, right? Don't need to go at it hard, right? No need. Just nice and easy. All right. So that's what it is with the picking. Now, the third part I moved into a bit of a strumming. Alright, so this is a combination of 2 techniques. So if you watched the first video where it was about the different kinds of strumming that I did, so one of the main things that I pointed out is just trying to keep an even angle and strength across all of the strings. That way you get an even sound across all of them, and it just sounds nice and gentle. So, and one of the techniques that I talked about was using just the middle finger and not using the thumb on the up strums. Right? Like, not doing that. That gets a better even sound. with just the middle finger, like you have a nice attack on the strum down, but on the way up, it's more muffled, it's not as rich. And so, like, yeah, you kind of lose out on it, but for a technique like this, it's not as noticeable because it's busy enough and you've got something in between to kind of... You got that snap in between that kind of makes up for it, so it's not that big of a deal. So I took that technique where I'm strumming with just my middle finger. And then I combined that with just the snap. So it's two simple concepts, but it can be pretty difficult to coordinate at times. So just keep practicing it. So you could just keep practicing that progression. Or whatever else you want to do, but that's just something I've practiced with. So just keep practicing that. So the main thing is just get that snap. It's nice and gentle. The coordination will come. You just have to keep practicing. And I started off on the pick and catch. More Than Words, you can practice with that song. Look it up, it's a classic, and then yeah, just keep practicing with strumming. Alright, so that's the first part of my percussive strumming video. I've got a second one, so stay tuned, but in the meantime just keep practicing your strumming techniques with the thumb on the up strum and middle finger on the down strum, or just the middle finger. And then you could start adding that snap, right? So that's it for this time. I hope that helps. Enjoy. Have fun.